Welcome back, everyone. Took a couple weeks off because I've been playing Metaphor like 24/7. Every chance I got was dedicated to Metaphor. I don't remember where I am. I think we gotta finish the mansion. Man, what an incredible game. I don't think I liked it better than Persona 5. It's not that it wasn't good. It did a lot of things better than Persona 5, you know. But I just love the aesthetic of Persona 5. I miss the Fan of Thieves. I haven't finished Tactica yet. I always try to get back to it and then just get sidetracked by other things. I gotta just sit down one day and play through it. I don't know. I didn't really like the archetypes over personas in general. I like the concept of the personas more than the archetypes just because they're more individual. I mean, you have the like spoilers, I guess, the royal archetypes, which are basically just personas, which, oh shit. So I do like that aspect of it, but I liked just being able to change during battle was another big thing I enjoyed. Over the archetypes where it just felt like I put the wrong archetype on, or I forgot to switch before this battle and now I'm fucked. But a lot of cool quality of life things like being able to just hit L3 and restart the battle. That just felt so nice. But what I didn't like about it was you had to have it during like an idle phase in your turn, and there were times where it was like, oh, my enemy here is just about to beat the shit out of everyone, and I guess I gotta sit through the animations or restart and go through the main menu again. And it's just like, you introduced such an amazing feature here and then just didn't use it properly. You know, like, not properly, but just you didn't give it the full extent that I think it needed. Still a great feature to have. Everything felt really smooth and fast in the game, but you know, aesthetic wise, I love Persona 5. The jazz soundtrack especially is what pushes it over the top. But man, what a beautiful game. I love the characters. I don't know if I necessarily love the world. Just because I've never really been able to get into the fantasy settings as much. I don't know what it is about fantasy settings that just doesn't radiate with me. And it's not exclusive to this game, it's something just in general. I find it very hard to go back to like the older Final Fantasies because we're in that fantasy world or like medieval time kind of world. It's not even that I don't like the aesthetic. I don't know, just something about it that doesn't draw me in. Chrono Trigger drew me in. Maybe that's because of the different timelines or something. I don't know. But in general, the fantasy setting doesn't always get me. But I took the risk because I trust Atlas and it paid off. Like I really love the game. There's so much about it where I was like, oh, you know, what's the explanation for this? And just it kept me on edge the entire time. From the moment you fight the first major boss, the human, and I mean, I guess I'm going into spoilers, but you know, but when you fight that first human, it was just like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? You know, what's up with this fucked up world? And then as you just get through the game and you eventually find out the truth of the world, it was just like, oh damn, this place is fucked. You know, and I feel like it was pretty well paced. At the end, I kind of ran out of things to do, though. It just felt like, alright, I got 10 days left, and I gotta fight these big dragons, and then, just do nothing, really, for the remaining days. So, I don't know. That ending just kind of felt like... It felt nice, because I feel like every Persona game is just, alright, you're going up to the last stage trying to get shit done, trying to get social links in. And with Metaphor, I just felt like I had so much time to take care of things, which is great. And I think a big part of that is because the school aspect is gone. So it just frees things up. Part of me wishes there was something similar to it. Not necessarily like a school setting, but just some idea of like, oh, hey, every day you get a chance to raise your stats by answering a question or something. It could have been like strategy briefings every morning or something. Or maybe like 4 days of the week you get something like that. Because it did help a lot. One thing I was struggling to do was oh, I have some stuff I gotta take care of, but I need the stat points for the royal virtues or whatever. And then it'd be like, oh, I'm not at rank 5 on this yet, but the next what's it called? The next bond that I need to beef up is locked behind a level 5 virtue or something. And I was just like, oh, now I gotta go wander around the map, find one. Where, you know, in old Persona, it would just be like, yeah, here's your school quiz. Oh, you got 5 charisma, 5 wisdom, whatever. So I wish there was something like that just gave you daily points, because it was one thing where I was like, oh, I have to sacrifice today to get my wisdom up like 2 points, and it just didn't really feel worth it at times. In terms of the music, the battle theme is crazy. That shit went so hard for no reason, and it's in that language. I forgot what it's called, but you know, it's like the one that someone developed because they're like, oh, everyone can use this one, and then no one uses it. But the main battle theme was cool, and there were a lot of memorable themes, but I just felt like none of them were standout. Where I was like, oh, this is gonna be something I come back to years later. Like the soundtracks for Persona 3, 4, and 5, those have never left my playlist. I feel like at least once a week I'm listening to those soundtracks in some way, shape, or form. And it's more than just, you know, Last Surprise. It's more than just Life Will Change. Like, I'm listening to the dungeon themes. I'm listening to just the themes of Japan. Like, you know, that soundtrack went so hard, and just it fell into my preferences. And then same thing with Persona 3 and 4, which is just, yeah, these songs I can listen to over and over again. Outside of the main battle theme and like maybe the main menu theme, there wasn't anything where I was like, oh, I'm gonna come back to this multiple times. The only one that I can maybe add to this is the one that has the Persona motive, and the what's it called, Academia theme. And I mean, like, I was hard expecting the game to just end with the Persona 6 title screen, because there's so much shit where it's just like, oh, that's just Persona. And I know this is the anniversary game and that it took in a bunch from all of the Atlas series, but like, that was just a Velvet Room, bro. Like, that was just a Velvet Room, and I was like, oh, I'm cool if Moore's an attendant or like the new guy in charge or whatever, you know. It was like, that's definitely the Velvet Room, you know. There's no way to run around this, just a Velvet Room. That being said, what I enjoyed is you could just walk around in it. So I'm gonna be really disappointed if Persona 6 comes out and I can't walk around my Velvet Room. But yeah, I was just expecting the game to end with like some plot twist like that. But once you got to the actual plot twist of, yeah, this isn't like the past, this is the future, and we're all fucked up. You know, I thought, all right, cool. And then we didn't really get to explore that, and I was disappointed there, because I thought it would have been cool to have had more time in the old world. You kind of get it towards the end, where you're talking to Moore, and he takes you to like not Shibuya. And for a second, I thought, like, oh, we're gonna get a little chapter here, or like just get to explore the city for a minute, and then it didn't happen. Yeah. And I mean, maybe they'll say that for like DLC or for Metaphor 2. So I'm not like butthurt that it's not there. because I feel like that could have its own game completely. But it was just like, for a second I thought we were gonna do it, and I was like, damn, this game just finds ways to keep topping itself. Part of me feels like it got kind of long at points, but at the same time, it was shorter than any of my run-throughs for any Persona games. So I can't say it was short, because to me, or I can't say it was long because it was shorter than most games that I'm used to there. I think my playtime was around 60 to 70 hours in the end, and most of that was just me grinding for the dragons, because those fuckers. I know I beat the first dragon or two on my own. I beat the first two dragons pretty solidly once I grinded up a little bit and fixed my equipment up for them. But then came the last dragon, the fire one. That fucker was just so stupidly strong for no reason. Like, the poison dragon fucked me up because it just felt like none of my attacks were doing damage, and he kept lowering my attack stats, and I had no way to at the time, like, I had nothing that would fix that. Or rather, I would fix it and then immediately get fucked again, and his stats would go up, and I had no way to really drop both at the same time. And it just felt like I was fighting between, like, alright, do I spend this turn healing, or do I spend this turn, you know, attacking and trying not to die or whatever. So they were cool battles. But then the fire dragon came along, and it's just like, yeah, I'm occasionally gonna hit this fucking instant kill attack. And it was like, man, I came so close, and now I gotta spend a couple turns healing, and then you heal, and then he immediately KOs you, but you're like, I need these two alive. I don't want to go too on about the dragon matches. Like, they were hard as fuck, you know, but they were fun. But the way that I beat the fire dragon was that I put the fire weakness on him, and then his dumbass just attacked me and got reflected by Hulkenberg, who, by the way, is the fucking GOAT. Hulkenberg was putting in the goddamn work for those matches. Just guarding, taking everything onto herself. Just beautiful. Hulkenberg was my GOAT in the run through. I've been reading online like that strength was the best build for it, but for like the MC. I went with the magic build because it felt like early on that magic was the way to go, and then you get the almighty slash, and I just felt like, oh, well, I guess I built my main character wrong. But one of the best changes that this game did in comparison to other Persona games was just the mage restoring MP. Like, there are times in Persona games where, you know, I'd make it to the end of the dungeon on day one, and then it's like, oh, my party's exhausted, I have no MP. They're telling me they're exhausted, so they're missing more, or they're hitting weaker. And then to just be able to be like, alright, let me just equip the mage and grind for a bit, level up while I'm doing this, and get MP back. It was a great change that made the game so much nicer to play. I could just go on about how great Metaphor was. It's currently my game of the year from what limited games I have played that came out this year. But I haven't played Rebirth yet. And the reason I haven't played Rebirth yet is because I'm still fucking playing Crisis Core. And by playing Crisis Core, I mean I haven't touched it in like 2 or 3 months at this point. And every time I pick it up, I'll do a mission, and then I feel so angry at what I just played that I put it back down. And I know I could just watch it. I know I could just watch it on YouTube, but that feels like it's against my pride as a gamer, for whatever that's fucking worth. So it's just, I want to play Rebirth, and I'm trying to make sure I play it before the year ends, but Crisis Core is just standing in the way. And it's just, man, I've been over it a couple times. Like, it's the voice acting, it's the delivery of lines, it's the gameplay is not bad. I just feel like it's very clearly a PSP game, and I thought they would have updated a little bit for the PS5 Steam remake, but nah, it didn't get updated at all, and it just feels like, yeah, this would have been fun on the PSP. It's kind of fun on my Steam Deck, but when I sit down on the computer, I'm like, I could be playing other things. I could play things that like really feel like they're PC games, you know. I didn't buy it on the or I didn't get it on the PS5 because it was cheaper on the PC at the time, and now it's like a PS Plus game, and I'm like, oh, well, fuck me, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe I play it on the PS5 and just kind of sit down and play it like that, or maybe I force myself to record it or stream it so that I have to finish it. Because the goal is to get the Rebirth by the end of the year, and now I got 2 months to do that, so we'll see. But yeah, right now Metaphor is my game of the year. It just did so many things right and so little wrong. I think the villain might be like the best villain out of the at least through the Persona games I played. I haven't played the SMT games fully. I'm still playing through Nocturne. But outside of Maruki, I feel like I really enjoyed his character just because it was a general conflict with what you as the player have been dealing with. It was a cool little clash of ideals. Let's heal you up. But yeah, I feel like pretty solidly written villain. The one thing that kind of disappointed me was his last two forms. Or he has like 3 forms. He has the like the naked shirtless form, which I thought deserved to like have been like a mid-battle upgrade or something, because you fight him once in his regular outfit, and then the second time you find him, he's just like, alright, fuck it, God mode. And it was cool, but I just felt like, oh, it would have been cool to have had like a first form where you fight him just on the throne regularly, and then he's like, alright, here's my next form, and then you think you're done, then he goes into his giant Atlas endgame boss form. But I mean, that's a small nitpick. I love the design of the last 2 forms that he has. I just felt like he was super well done. I liked what he had to offer. I thought that he was a compelling villain. I thought it was funny that one of the last options is like he's explaining, his motive, and then you can just be like, "You're absolutely right." Game over. That was one thing that I do wish the game had kind of explained a little more, was just saying, hey, if you choose this option, it's the game over. Don't you want to see this route? Because it felt very obvious, like, there are points in the game where it's like, oh, I pick an option, and then it tells you, not pick another option. Not pick another option. And I was like, do I take that risk here? Am I going to have to go back to a previous boss battle if I pick that option? And I didn't want to do that. So I was just like, I guess I'll watch the alternate endings on YouTube. And I wish my choices had a little more impact in the game. And this goes for all Atlas games, I guess. Or at least the Persona games. Because there are times where it's like, you make a decision and it feels like this should matter, but it's really just about like the next 2 lines of dialogue, and then you get back on the regular path. And just because of the idea of the game, where it's like, yeah, you can you're trying to earn popularity points or whatever, I feel like the choices should have mattered a little more. Especially when it's like, alright, here's the big plot twist, what do you do? And your choices get in the game there, and it's like, well, I don't know. It would have been cool if there was like a third route that opened up or something, like just one extra boss that you could have done or something. I went the wrong fucking way. God damn it. I didn't get the key. I wasted all that time. I don't know, I just wish the options mattered a little bit more. The one genuine issue that I really had with the story was at the end game, so if you don't want to hear about the end game, you know, leave, I guess. I don't know. I watched my boys Stroll, Basilio, and Heisenberg, you know. I watched them all fucking jump off the fucking the cliff to go save us and sacrifice their lives, and you watch Stroll fall down and plummet to the earth below, and then you see Nurse and he just fucking, you know, I can't make the joke, you know, fuck, he 9/11s himself, you know, he fucking slams himself into the goddamn runner and fucking explodes, and I was like, damn, they all fucking died. And then you see the girls all backed up, and they're clearly gonna fight to the death here. And I was like, damn, it's a hell of a way to go out. And then you have your little cutscene with more come back, and they're just alive. And Stroll's like, wow, it sure was crazy that we got saved by Nurse there. And to me, that just felt like the biggest cop out, where I was like, ah, you had it. You had such a fucking impactful ending. And I just feel like there should have been an alternate route where they do die. You have that heroic sacrifice from them, and it means something, and then it's like, alright, you have a 1v1 with, we could have got a fucking Hoopa. You get a one-on-one with Luis, you know, and then that's the end game. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the characters, and I know they have to keep them alive, because if they ever make a sequel, you want them to live, so that you can continue using them in some way. But it just felt like, just don't have them jump off the cliff, you know, if they're gonna survive. Because when it just felt so convenient to me, like, not only did this happen, it happened off screen, so we didn't really have to justify it beyond saying, oh, this shit fucking happened, bro. So yeah, that was my one disappointment with, like, the story as a whole. And then not having romance was weird, just because it felt like they wrote, at the very least, they wrote all the women to very clearly be like, feelings for the MC, and the MC's like, that's cool. And then nothing happens. I just felt like you probably wrote the most compelling romances you've ever done, and then you don't have them be actual romances. Like, it just felt weird. It was like, I don't know what we're doing here. You know, I don't need to be like a Persona 5 kind of deal where it's like, yeah, and then we banged all night. But it just felt like it built up to that, and I was like, oh, the characters are really, really well done right now, you know? Nothing crazy. It seems like there's something there. Oh, no romance at all. Like, oh, okay, that's alright. It just felt weird to not have that. I don't know. And I don't even think the game needed it necessarily. It just felt like they wrote it very clearly in that direction and then just didn't do it. So that was weird to me. But yeah, I love the game. It just, there's a couple of things where, like, I'm nitpicky about it, but I thought it was great. I want to play Persona 3 Reloaded now, but I just can't handle another, you know, 100-hour RPG right now. Like, I need a couple of days to break and try to force myself to beat Crisis Core so I can get to goddamn Rebirth. Why'd I use Rock Slide? I should have used Aerial Ace. Whew. But yeah, I bought Sparking Zero. I got the early access pass because I was like, hey, I want to wait till this comes out officially, but it drops the same day as Metaphor, and I know damn well I'm gonna play Metaphor like crazy, so I'm gonna pay the extra like $30, get it 3 days early, and man, for those 3 days I was playing the hell out of that game. it felt good to control. I still personally prefer Budokai over the Budokai Tenkaichi style games. I love the customization of them. I loved just being like, alright, you know, this is my Goku. I'm gonna give him like the capsule that's worth 5 points, so I can only dedicate so much to other things, but I want him to go Super Saiyan 4. And, you know, because of that I gotta sacrifice some other skills or whatever. That shit was so fun to do, and just I love the 2.5D battle aspect of it. I enjoy the Budokai Tenkaichi game style, where you're just like kind of free roaming essentially. But there are times where it's like, oh, my opponent's like all the fucking way over there, and then you gotta take the time to like just get over there, and you're either burning energy bar or you're just traveling super slow, and it just feels like, yeah, I wish this was a little more confined. Or I'm ending up underwater, and then it's just like, yeah, this whole battle's underwater now because we're just gonna keep exchanging blows down here, I guess. I don't know. And then the story mode's pretty disappointing to me, just because so much of it is the slideshows, and like, it's Dragon Ball Z. I know what happens in Dragon Ball Z. I've played countless Dragon Ball Z games at this point. I've seen them in video game form. You know, I know what's going on. But it just felt weird to be like, oh, this is a really important moment in the series, and then it's just a slideshow. And it just felt like, oh, this should have been, you know, animated properly. I don't know. Some of the what ifs, like Gohan Black, fucking incredible. I prefer Gohan Black to the actual Goku Black storyline. But at the same time, I was like, why are they choosing such an awkward selection of battles for some of these characters? It just felt like a lot of characters were missing important ones. Like Vegeta ends at Kid Buu, and I'm like, why doesn't he get any of his super fights? It doesn't make sense to me that he doesn't get his super fights in. Like his journey should have ended with at the very least, the battle against Toppo. You know, or like a sparring match with Broly or something, leading to Super Gogeta. Instead, it ended at Kid Buu, and I was like, that's fucking weird. What the fuck happened here? I don't know. That just felt weird to me. One thing that does bum me out though is that there's no Kid Goku option, and I would have loved to have played through some of the Dragon Ball fights. I would have loved to have just been like, all right, here's Goku versus you know, Master Chun, or Goku versus Tien. You know, it always feels weird to me that we get Kid Goku, but then like we don't get Kid Krillin, you know, or Master Chun, Jackie Chun, you know. Like, those are battles that I want to experience, because we haven't gotten them in, to my knowledge, in the Budokai Tenkaichi style. So yeah, I don't know. I would have loved the Kid Goku having this little story. Currently, I'm on the, what's it called, the Ginyu Force Comes to Earth storyline, the What If. That shit's been incredible. I did not expect that to be so fleshed out. I thought it was gonna be like, yeah, you know, you'll probably do like one battle and then it'll course correct and you'll end up on Namek or something. Because the first time I was like, alright, well, you know, Goku doesn't die. He never trains with King Kai. And, you know, the story has to change because there's no way that Goku's going to be strong enough to take on Vegeta if he doesn't have King Kai's training and the Kaioken. And then it's like, nah, so Goku trains hella hard with his homies, and then Vegeta and Nappa show up, and all the Z fighters are capable of stopping them because of all the training they did. And then all this shit goes down, and then Goku goes to train with King Kai, and I was like, oh shit, this is super like in depth. And I thought they were gonna be like, all right, we still gotta go to Namek for some reason, but no, instead Ginyu Force comes to Earth, and then it's like, all right, take on the Ginyu Force one after the other in a fucking gauntlet match, and I played that shit for probably like 3 hours and just was getting fucked up every time, either by Jace or Captain Ginyu. There were a couple times where Goldo just fucking decided he was gonna step it up and just beat my ass for a while. But it's mostly just Jace and Captain Ginyu. And I don't know, man, like, I'll be doing fine. Like, I'm just fucking stomping the Ginyu Force, making him look stupid. And then Jace shows up and just fucking hits me, runs away, hits me, runs away, hits me, runs away. And then Ginyu comes in and finishes the job. And I'm like, dog, what the fuck? So I don't know, maybe I stream it where I'm just like, hey, I'm not ending the stream until I beat the Ginyu Force. I don't know. But it's been a lot of fun, but it just came out at the worst time. If it had come out like a Friday earlier, I would have been able to give it so much more time. But it came out 3 days before Metaphor, and I knew going in, like, yeah, Metaphor is going to be the game I devote my time to. I didn't think I was going to devote myself to it as much as I did, where like every free moment I had was going to that game. But now that I'm done with Metaphor, it's time to go back to some other stuff. So I gotta play more Sparking Zero. I want to play Mario and Luigi when that comes out in like a week or two at this point. I played maybe half an hour of Zelda, and then just, again, Metaphor came out, and just, or I guess Dragon Ball Z came out, and then Metaphor. So I haven't touched that one beyond, like, I got to the first dungeon, I think, and I haven't played since. But yeah, man, Metaphor just kind of took over. It was a lot more than I expected, you know. Like, I'm at the point with Metaphor right now where I'm like, yeah, where's the expanded director's cut Atlas? Like, just give it to me already. I need more, you know. And I don't really know what they could do extra in terms of that game, outside of the Mage Academy being an extra dungeon. Maybe like optional party members, because it felt like a lot of those characters were meant to be party members. And if I'm not mistaken, when the game was like announced and you're getting details, they talked about optional party members. But like Katharina, I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely joining my party. She's got a rank. She's clearly made to be, you know, a fighter here. Nah. Is there anything else here? Can I just escape her about? But yeah, just, I don't know. I think that's the one thing they get at, that in the Mage Academy. Alright, cool. We made it. Let's go save up. Yeah, I don't know. I'm ready for it. It's gonna be like, what, another 2 years till we get that? The one thing that I really just, and this is just me, I didn't get the DLC for Metaphor, or like the, not, I don't even know if you call it DLC, but like the costumes, just because it's like $30 for some costumes, and that felt so insane to me. And I mean, to be fair, when I got Persona 5, I got or Royale, I got the deluxe edition or whatever that came with all the DLC. But it's just like, man, $30 for costumes that changed the battle theme just felt like a lot. And it sucks, 'cause I really want Last Surprise. Like, there are times where I'm like, man, Last Surprise would go so hard here, you know, just. But $30 for those costumes, just I couldn't justify it. And I can't see myself buying it. I don't know. It feels weird that all the costumes, like, there's not a single one you can unlock in game to change into. That just felt weird to me. You know, that's probably my biggest complaint with the game, was just, I know there's feature exists, but it's completely locked behind DLC. Yeah, and it would have been cool, like, you get the end game outfits or post game outfits, and you can't use those in the game, to my knowledge. And it just feels like You made the models. I know they exist. They're in the game. I've seen them. Like, why can't I use those? You know? I don't know. It just feels like costumes should not be locked behind $30. You know? And I know the songs come with them technically, but still. But yeah, Metaphor was great. What I played as Sparking Zero was great. I need to play more Zelda to really give it a fair assessment. I would very much like to play Crisis Core before the year is over. So I'm gonna force myself to play, or not Crisis. I want to play Rebirth before the year's over. So I gotta force myself to finish up Crisis Core because I don't know, man. It's just it feels like talking to a mall scene kid back in like 2004, 2006. It's rough. It's real rough. Yakuza, I gotta get back on Yakuza 2, or Yakuza 0 rather. Like, there's so much that I just need to catch up on. And it's been 2 weeks. Like, a lot's happened. You know, the leaks that happened that came out. TYPHLOSION, what the fuck, bro? And the excuse I've heard a lot for some of those stories is like, oh, well, it's just Greek mythology, you know, they're just copy pasting Greek mythology but putting, you know, TYPHLOSION or stacking in their place. And to me, that just comes off as lazy. You could write anything you want about the Pokemon world, you know? Like, the world is so vast, and you can create any backstory you want, and it just felt weird. Like, why do we need those backstories? Like, alright, you want to tell a story about hunting being bad? Okay, that makes sense to me. Why does it have to be a story about, you know, a TYPHLOSION kidnapping and then, you know, sexually assaulting a girl? Why couldn't it be like, yeah, there was a herd of Stantler that lived here, and then mankind hunted the Stantler to extinction in this area, and then as a result, you know, these other Pokemon came into the forest and they killed all these other Pokemon, and then there was no food or whatever for the villagers, and then the villagers died out, you know, so we need to exist in harmony, and we can't mass murder all these Pokemon. You're like, I don't know, something simple like that. And instead it was like, yeah man, TYPHLOSION drugged this chick, had a baby with her, and it was just like, what am I reading, bro? Like, I don't. You could have told any story. And the idea that, oh, it's just Greek mythology. Why am I okay with that? Why am I okay with, yeah, take this other thing that's already created, that takes zero effort on my part, and then copy paste a Pokemon name in there? Like, that's just plagiarism, bro. I don't know. Why is that okay? It just felt lazy to me, and I don't I don't understand the defense of it. I don't know. There's a bunch of other stuff in those leaks, but I don't want to get into that because that seems like a risk to talk about. Outside of that, the beta designs look cool. I hope we get to see some of them in official capacity in some way or another. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in those leaks where I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like that probably shouldn't be advertised. Like saying, oh, we have a copy of this game. Like, nah, you probably just shouldn't say that. You just probably could have kept your mouth shut on that one. You know, protected yourselves a little bit more. I mean, they're already fucked. Like, if they get caught by Nintendo, they're fucked, you know. But there's a level of fuck that you can survive, and there's a level of fuck that you can't survive. And once they were like, oh, we got this, I was just like, ah, y'all are dumb. Y'all are dumb. You fucked up. But yeah, I don't know. That's the main thing I took away from it. Was just like, you didn't have to write any of this. You could have wrote literally any story in the Pokemon world for Mythos. And I know that we already had the Canalave stuff and the Frostless stuff, but there's a huge difference to me between, yeah, here's a myth about like consenting humans and consenting Pokemon, or consenting Pokemon, and yeah, this Typhlosion's fucked up, bro. It just felt weird. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. The beta stuff was like, the beta Pokemon was like the stuff that I really enjoyed out of those leaks. Just to see the design process, to see how things changed. And there was some like really cool art in there. Like I guess what would have been the proto like Metagross. That shit looked insane, and I was like, damn, not just from like a design standpoint, but from the art style standpoint. And I was like, were they planning on trying this art style at some point? Like, what's the story behind that? I don't know. There's just so much in there that felt cool to see as a longtime fan of the franchise. But there's also stuff from like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's so weird that you would write that. I don't know why you would do that. Wrestling wise, I don't remember what's happened in the past 2 weeks. Daniel Bryan got murdered by Moxley, right? That shit was disappointing to me. It just felt like Moxley didn't need that, and it just felt super underwhelming. The plastic bag shit just felt like, I don't know why we're doing this. This feels dumb. Yuta turning felt dumb. I don't know. I went to Collision, I guess 2 weeks ago now. And by went to Collision, I mean I went to Collision and then Battle of the Belts and then ROH immediately after, because it was a triple filming back to back. And it was fun. There was stuff I enjoyed, but there's also things I don't understand about Tony's booking. Like the main event at Collision was a 6-man tag for the trios titles, which makes sense to me. But then that was the high point of the night. Like, that was the climax of all your matches. Like, this is the biggest match on the card by far, and it's hour 2 of a what felt like 4.5 hour event. Like it went on for a long time, and I don't know. It was confusing, the match order. Like, I just felt like, why not make that the main event of Battle for the Belts, because it's a title match. I get that you want to do the whole like, oh, we're gonna defend our titles immediately on the next match that kicks off Battle for the Belts. That was a cool idea. I just felt like, I don't know, you had this big main event that was cool, that people were into, and then you followed up with Dark Order, and I just felt like, yeah, just end this fucking match already, like. And then you follow that up with Okada, which was cool. And I don't know if it's Okada. I've never really been into Roderick Strong, or whatever the fuck his name is. I forget his name right now. I've never really been into him. And that match just felt like, yeah, this didn't need to be 20 minutes. But it was 20 minutes, and I don't know. That's an issue I have with AEW in general, where it's like every match has to be, 15 plus minutes. Outside of like very rare matches. And I'm like, yeah, this could have been a good 10-minute match. It could have been a really good explosive 10-minute match. Instead, it was like, here's a good opening 2 minutes, here's 18 minutes and nothing, and then like 17 minutes of nothing, and then last minute is like, oh, Kai's got to hit a Rainmaker. At the same time, I didn't think Okada was going to be there, so I was super hyped to see him in person for the first time. And then after that, the main event was a title, what they call it, eliminator matches, where it's like, oh, if you beat the champion, you get the number contendership. And I knew it was an eliminator match when they announced it, but I feel like a majority of that crowd didn't understand what that meant. So I just remember no one really gave a shit. And it's because we just had the 6-man tag, and then we had an Okada appearance, which everyone popped off for. So then to go from that into a women's title match with very little build-up, that wasn't actually a women's title match. It just felt like, why are we putting this in this slot? And, you know, it could have been, this should have been the 6-man tag. This should have been the 6-man tag, or it should have been, or it should have been the Okada match. And it's not even like, you know, oh, women's wrestling, whatever. Like, the match was fine, but by that point, the crowd was burnt out, and it just felt like, this isn't a title match, so what are we doing? You had 2 title matches that featured big stars that people wanted to see, and then the main event of the evening was not either of those matches, you know? And then that led into ROH, and I've never been to ROH. You know, I've only ever seen tapes of old ROH and just heard stories of how cool of an atmosphere it was and all that. AEW ROH is not that, man. It felt really disappointing to be like, oh, I finally saw an ROH show and it was that. And I don't mean that in offense to any of the competitors on the show. It's just, it feels like AEW. And I mean that like in the worst way, where it's like, oh, yeah, this is just a match that would have happened on like Rampage, you know? And then the segment that ended the night, which I felt like, oh man, I should have just fucking left, was Athena's championship ceremony or whatever the fuck. And I had nothing against Athena. All I've heard is like, oh, she's having like the best women's title run ever. But I have no way of watching ROH, so I wouldn't know that. So when I was like, alright, it's an Athena segment, that could be cool. And then it was like, yeah, she comes out, she's handcuffed to some random chick. She has her sidekick, I forgot her name. The girl's like 18 or 19, the Prodigy. Like, it was like, yeah, they had this moment where I was like, oh, she's gonna leave, you know? Because that's the only thing I know about the storyline, is that it's building up to Billy Starks winning the title. And then you have this moment where it's like, okay, Billy Starks is gonna turn. And then she's just like, I've had enough, and she walks away, and I was like, what are we fucking doing? And then it ended with Abaddon coming out, and they didn't even go through the table. And like I was like, what are we doing? What the fuck is this segment? You have all these jobbers dancing like it's a fucking WWE segment. You have this cringy storyline and promo. You have this big moment that had zero payoff. And then the show ends with Athena covered in cake, and I was like, what the fuck is this, dude? This is not the ROH that I've seen tapes of. This is not the ROH that was fucking hard carrying indie wrestling for over a decade. You know, it just felt like, what the fuck is happening here? And I just felt sad because I was like, man, I should have just gone home after the fucking Battle of the Belts match ended. Oh fuck. I don't know. It felt really disappointing, you know, that was my first ROH taping or whatever. And I feel like I can't complain because I paid for Collision. I thought I was just gonna go to Collision, and then it was like, oh, it's actually Battle for the Belts too, and I was like, okay, that's cool. You know, I'm not really a fan of Battle of the Belts because I feel like it's very rarely like a title match heavy show. And I mean, I guess this one was 2 out of 3 matches were title matches, so I can't complain. but it also felt like, yeah, why was the main event a non-title match? I don't know. I don't think anyone in that building expected the winner to be the winner, you know? It just kind of felt like, oh yeah, Mariah's winning this. So I don't know. I don't know. The Outrunners were cool. Got one of the bigger pops of the night, and it's because they have a fun gimmick, you know. Like Okada, Mox, they all got big pops, and everyone else just kind of like, yeah, I guess you're here. I don't know. I'm always conflicted on AEW because there's things that I really enjoy, and fuck, you're my one Rock type dude, and you don't have any PP for low. Yeah, I don't know. It just, there are times where I'm confused by the way that things get booked in AEW. Yeah, go for the stab. Oh shit. Trap. That was the return of Dynamax too. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've missed the past two Dynamites, and it wasn't that I didn't want to watch them. It's that something's been going on with Hulu, and I don't even know if it's Hulu. It might be like, why is Articuno so fired? I know it's Blaine, but what the fuck's going on here? I don't know if it's Hulu or if it's something going on with the TBS or whatever, but for some reason, like, AEW has not been airing on TBS West. And what I mean by that is, I think it's airing on the East Coast feed, but when it's 8 o'clock on Wednesday and it's time for AEW, it says like, oh, no programming at this time. And then I'll click on the channel and it'll say there's an error, and then I have to like, I can't watch it after that. It just goes, yeah, error, channel not available. So I missed at least 2 episodes of AEW because of that. And then last week I watched for like the first hour or so, and then Jericho won a title, and I was like, ah, fuck it, I'm playing Metaphor. So why the fuck is Jericho winning a title in 2024? Like, what the fuck are we doing? That being said, Shelton Benjamin, that motherfucker's put in the goddamn work. Holy fuck. It bums me out because I've loved Shelton. Shelton. I've loved Sheldon, you know? Shelton. I've been thinking about fucking Big Bang Theory. Like, homie's been great his entire fucking career and just hasn't been fucking used. And it's just like, man, we could have been having this dude for the past like 20 years, and instead just hasn't been given the chance to do shit. So I'm happy to see him doing stuff, but it's also like, yeah, homie's pretty old at this point, and you're having him like go over guys who could probably use that win. I don't know. It just feels weird to finally be happy that my boy is succeeding, and then also be like, should he be though? Like, why isn't this new guy you're trying to push as one of the dudes? Why isn't he the one beating Shelton? You know? I don't know. But yeah, I kind of just been zoned out for Dynamite because of the Hulu error and just playing Metaphor for the past like 2 weeks nonstop. I like the last pay-per-view they had. I don't know if I care about this next one though, just because I don't care for Adam Cole, man. he came back and immediately I was like, man, what the fuck are we doing? Just felt disappointed, you know. WWE, they're doing pretty good right now. I'm excited for the Bloodline storyline. Really not paying attention to much outside of that. The Crown Jewel title belt, who gives a fuck? Like, they introduced that shit and I was like, man, I have never cared less about whatever the fuck we're doing than this shit. Bill, let me go heal first, Bill. I don't have to take me immediately, right? Yeah, we should go, I guess. Should probably heal, bro, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I've been busy playing Metaphor and busy with other stuff and just kind of like a backseat. So then to see the Crown Jewel title, I was like, yeah, I give zero shits about whatever the fuck we're doing with this thing. And it's weird because Gunther versus Cody, that's a big fucking match. And you found a way for me to not give a shit. I don't know. It just feels like a weird match to throw on, and I get it. It's the Saudi show. They're gonna fucking pay hella money, so you know they're gonna do their best to make it a big deal. But man, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a single fuck about this giant ass title belt. The Bloodline match will be cool. I don't know. I don't remember anything else that's happening on the fucking show. There's the 4-women tag match that could be fun. Surprised to see Metaphor being pushed on the main roster like this, but good for them, you know. Halloween Havoc was cool. The women's tag match was fucking crazy. That shit was just nice. But yeah, I ran it enough. I forgot all about the Sevi Islands. So we're gonna call it a night here. Till next time, peace.